Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? Grab your beverage. You know how we start this, right? We grab a beverage, we grab a seat, and we sit back and relax for a few minutes as we chat about life. I feel like it's been forever, even though it's only been a couple of days since we chatted. So, how was your weekend? Mine was very interesting. If you caught the coffee chat that I did on Friday, you know that my hubby has been sick and has been sick for like a week. Well, we finally went into the doctor to find out that he does not have COVID. He does not have flu. He does not have strep throat. He's got a virus. And so we're treating a lot of his symptoms. And I was good, you guys. I was so good. He slept down on the sofa because he needed to have his head elevated. And it was much easier to do on the recliner and stuff than it was to do up in the bed. And so he was sleeping downstairs. Well, he decided once he got the medicine, it masked everything. Yes, you know this, right? Your body is still fighting something, but because you feel better, you feel you can do more things. Well, he decided that he was going to sleep in the bed with me. And it proceeded to cough on me. And unfortunately, if you can hear that I'm battling something. But immediately upon waking up over the weekend, I got into my sauna. I started getting vitamin C. I started taking echinacea. I started like doubling up on everything. I don't really feel bad except my throat hurts. And so yes, I took a sauna on, was it Friday? No, I think it was Saturday and Sunday. Now, why? Because if you're not running a fever, you can get in a sauna and it sweats out all the yuck. And so that's what I did. I got in the sauna for 35 minutes each day. And I think that has really helped. I think it has. I don't feel terrible. I sounded terrible this morning when I woke up. That's for sure. But I took Duncan for a walk. And although I was planning to get together with someone today, I decided that's probably not the best option. So, especially since it was for outside, and I don't want to do anything that not extends, not exhausts, but that really, puts forth a whole lot of energy. As a matter of fact, I might even take a nap. Because when our bodies sleep, they repair, they replenish, they rejuvenate. And so I might even take a nap, even though I slept 9.5 hours last night. Woo! I'm celebrating that. I got up just once. And then I went right back to sleep. So what did I want to talk about today? Oh, good golly. When I was out walking Duncan, I listened to something that I thought was really interesting. Did you know that when fleas jump, they can jump feet in the air, like 6 feet in the air, 3 feet, very far? And there was a study, the story goes, there was a study done where they took fleas and they put them in a jar. And they put a lid on the jar. And as the fleas would jump, they would hit the top of the lid. And they learned, after hitting themselves in the head a bunch of times, that they could only jump so far. And when the scientists took the lid off, the fleas only jumped as far as they had thought with the lid on. And so often we do that to ourselves, right? Our self-doubt, our limitations that were put on us by others or even by ourselves has put that lid on. And even with the lid off, we've told ourselves that we could only jump so high. We could only achieve so much. But in reality, we can achieve so much more. We can do so much more. We can experience so much more. That lid is not real. It's only real up here. So if you're stopping yourself from making that dollar amount, getting that position, finding that love, whatever it is that you have told yourself, it's just not in the cards for me, that's crap. That is self-limiting beliefs that are just crap. And we all have them. I'm not beating you up. I've got them too. And it's amazing once you know them, it's so easy to be able to then jump. Once you know that it's only in my mind that I'm limiting myself. There's also something, it was really interesting. When I was in Thailand, I was riding these elephants and I saw this big elephant tied to this really skinny tree by a really skinny rope. And I said to the, the guide, the tour guide, how come he doesn't just go yank and run? And he said, because when he was a baby, he was tied to a very big tree. And he tried 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 and he could not break free. And so now, even though he's so much bigger and the rope is so much smaller and the tree is so much skinnier, he doesn't even try. He doesn't even try. And it broke my heart just a little because that is so sad. And yet we do that, right? When we're young, we try something. Look, when I was 10 years ago and I tried to retire and I said it's not for me. And then it makes you give up or not want to try anymore. Maybe you had a bad experience with a relationship and you're like, yeah, not my cards. You go back out there, you go on all those silly apps and oh my good golly, I have friends that are on those apps and the things that they tell me, I'm thinking, holy cow. And so maybe you're telling yourself it's just not in the cards for you. And that's crap. That's crap. Maybe you're telling yourself that for whatever reason, you can only, get so much money. You can only make so much money. You can only have as high a position. Recently, somebody I know, I'm not going to say any names. Recently, somebody I know was up for a position. They were in the final running between two people, and they were one of them for this position. And it required them to live in a very expensive place. And when it came time for salary requirements, and the employer asked, what are her salary requirements? It was shared a very high number in order to be able to live the life that they loved in the new, very expensive area. Now, to you, to me, that was mind-blowing, right? I would never have asked for that much money. Why? Because for so many years, my lid was here. And I said, nobody would pay me that kind of money. Really? But that person didn't have that lid on. And that person asked for what they needed and wanted in order to live the life they loved. They didn't have any limitations. They didn't second guess. They didn't doubt. They said, if this is the right fit and the company really wants me and I know I can provide this level of service, then that's what I should be making, and did not back down. And so what are you limiting yourself? Good golly, I limit myself all the time. Unknowingly limit myself. on things I can't do, things that people won't pay me for, things that nobody's gonna want. Really? And then I see things that people pay money for, and I'm like, wow, and how much money they pay. And I was like, the limit is here. The limit is nowhere else. And so whatever you're wanting in life, whatever you're aspiring to achieve, realize that it is, if someone else has achieved it, it's achievable. If someone else has found love, you too can find love. If somebody else has gotten a job making X, you too can do that. They have shown you. They're the ones who are giving you hope. They're the ones that are lighthouses showing you the way, showing you that it's possible. Not all the ones that are saying, no, it's not possible. Nobody does that. There are people that do that. And you, my friend, can be one of them. If you just remove that lid and once again, start jumping as high as you can jump. Or in the story of the elephant, take a little tug on that rope and see if the tree doesn't come tumbling down. Well, that's all I really wanted to share. I thought it was so incredibly profound because when I heard this, you know who I heard this from? I heard this from Lori Greiner from Shark Tank about the fleas, which made me think about the elephant. And I was shocked when I started thinking about how many thoughts do I have that keep me playing small, that don't allow me to do something that I really want to do, you know? Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. In any aspect of my life. There are women out there that are, years ago I saw this woman in her 70s, that was a bodybuilder and was winning competitions in her 70s. So if you're telling yourself, oh, women can't have that kind of muscle mass, especially the older they get, women can't lose the weight, oh, postmenopausal belly is a real thing and I've got yours and mine. Like, really, that's bullshit. That is just crap that we keep telling ourselves to keep ourselves in the situation we're in. Now, for many of us, is the weight gain real? Absolutely. But are there ways to take it off? Absolutely. You might not be willing to do what it takes, but that's a different story. That's a different story. I mean, that 70-year-old, she would get up at 4 a.m., and she would eat like raw eggs and, nah, I'm not doing that. And she would run for miles in the dark every day without breaks. She would then get to the gym and she would, lift weights for hours. Not in me. Don't want that. But if I wanted to be a competitive bodybuilder, the desire to do those things would be greater, because the desire for the result is greater. You have a desire for some result, and doing what it takes, you might not mind doing it because you want that thing. So do the thing. So do it. Stop telling yourself it's not in the cards for you, my friend. Because the only one who's keeping the card from you, the only person that's stopping you from living a life you absolutely love. Once I'm taking ownership of that, enlightening. Not only is it enlightening, but it actually makes me feel lighter because it makes me feel more in control. When I don't take responsibility and I'm like, oh, life just hands me all sorts of crap on a stick and life just sucks and blah, 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 blah. But once I take ownership, once I say, oh, it's all up to me and I'm going to figure out a way, I'm then empowered. I take the responsibility, but I also take the power back. And all those people that have done it aren't taking up all the spots. There's an infinite number of spots to compete in the bodybuilder competition, no matter what your age. There's an unlimited amount of spots to be a successful business owner, no matter what your age. There's unlimited amount of spots to retire happily, no matter what your age. The other day I heard somebody had retired at the age of 26. I was like, 26? What the hell? Yeah. The only limit is the one that you put on it. Fascinating. So what are you limiting yourself about? Yeah. It's eye-opening. Once I started realizing all the things that I was limiting myself about, good golly, I'm over X age, taking weight off is harder. Is it? Not when you know how. Once I learned how, it came off easy, like super easy. I took off all my weight in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, really. But it took me a decade to learn to get in touch with a person that could show me how. Don't give up. Don't give up. The answer's out there. The answer's out there. It is. It is definitely out there. And the person to show you that answer, to share the information, they're out there too. And so, keep searching, keep striving, keep jumping. Don't stop. Because you deserve a life you love. We only get one shot at this. And I live with no regrets. I do. I live with no regrets. I don't look back. Once I make a decision, it's done. So many people I know actually do that, though. They look back and they say, I wish I had done something different. No, you don't. No, you don't. Stop doing that. Because number one, there is no bad decision. You don't intentionally say, what is the worst decision I can make? I'm going to do that one. No, you always make the best decision with the information you have at the time that it needs to be made. That's first of all. So if you were to go back in time, you would make the same decision because you would still be the same you that you were with the same amount of information at the time the decision needed to be made. So the same decision would have been made. That's number one. And number two, as a result of the decision that you made, you had the experiences that you needed to become the person and the version that you are now. Period. End of conversation. So whether you quit a job and started, took the jump and started a business and it didn't go as well as you had planned, you always go back to work. Always get another job. I heard a story the other day of someone that had a business, sold the business, retired, traveled, enjoyed, had the best 6 months, and then was totally and completely bored. And you know what? They went and got a job. They could do that. Just because you make a decision to stop working doesn't, I've done it twice. Not once, twice. So, no decision is permanent. And the decisions we make create a path and a journey that we need to take in order to get to the next best version of ourselves. Gives us the experiences that I needed. I stayed home. I needed that experience raising kids and staying home. I then decided, it was kind of forced upon me, that I needed to go and get a job. because we needed the income. And so I got something that was flexible, that it was hard. Oh my God, it's 100% commission for someone who had never done sales in an industry that I had never worked in. I didn't have contacts. I didn't have a foundational base of knowledge. I didn't even know how to use a financial calculator. And I started doing mortgages. Oh, good golly, 10 years. 10 years I did mortgages, over 10 years. And it was a decision that I made. Am I glad I made it? Yeah. Was it hard? Yeah. Was it fun? Not really. Not really. There was more frustration than fun, if I'm being honest. But there was some fun. I got to meet some really cool people. I got to do some really cool things. I started speaking on credit and how to keep your credit looking great, even if you're considering or going through divorce, for women who are going through divorce. Never imagining that one episode, that one blip, that one decision, that one opportunity would then eventually become where I'm actually a professional public speaker. Now, I don't speak on credit anymore. Speak on other things. I speak on living a life you love, on leveraging your mindset, of changing your perspective so that you can see things with a different light, so that you can live the life you love. That's what I speak on. That's what I empower people with. Whether they're a business owner or a stay-at-home mom, leveraging our mindset to be the best parent, to be the best CEO, to be the best business owner, to be the best employee, to be the best spouse is something that is immeasurable on the importance. And so I'm continuing to do that. So if you know someone that is looking for a public speaker for their event, let me know. Or let them know about me. And I'm happy to share the knowledge that literally transforms lives. I've transformed thousands of them. And in a way that's so incredibly fun, that's enlightening, that's unforgettable. So let me know. And other than that, I think that's about all I have to share today. I hope that whatever you do today, take the lid off, examining those limiting beliefs and kick them to the curb, and have the most magnificent, merry, marvelous, magical Monday. I'll catch you tomorrow. See ya.